What's up, guys? My name's Anton Suarez, and in this video we are going to be talking about Ubuntu and Linux as a whole winding down 32-bit support. So in recent news, Linux and Ubuntu, especially Ubuntu, has been considering dropping support for 32-bit versions of its OS. And I'll have this article in the description below, and recently there's been talks about dropping support for 32-bit. That 32-bit is not worth it in the long run to keep developing for it. And I do agree with that statement that 32-bit kinda is a dead end now that we have 64-bit, and 64-bit is going to be the standard for computers and technology in general for the foreseeable future. Even for our smartphones, they are 64-bit now. The only thing that I see people getting upset about for dropping 32-bit is the legacy support of Linux. The fact that you could take Linux, and my whole selling point for Linux is you can install it on anything. You can install it on a machine that back when we had Windows Millennium. That's where I could see people having an issue with it, where you can't install it on those machines anymore. So Ubuntu's Dmitry John Ledkov, and I think I pronounced that right, proposed that 32-bit installations are increasingly unnecessary as so few machines run on 32-bit processors. And I do understand that, where you're dedicating resources to run 32-bit where we don't need to do that anymore. You're dedicating developers to running 32-bit hardware, to test on 32-bit hardware, just to make sure it works for those people. There will be a demographic that are going to be cut out of support. That's a fact, that a small percent of the Linux install base will be cut out because of this. It's not going to happen all at once, but as we progressively see new releases of the Linux kernel, and Linux as a whole, as it keeps progressing, we're going to see a lot less support for 32-bit to eventually where you can't install Linux on 32-bit machines. Will that stop for other Linux distributions? I doubt that. I believe that you'll be able to still use the Linux kernel on 32-bit machines, and I believe that Arch Linux, you'll be able to get a custom kernel if you really needed to run on a 32-bit machine. Comparing it to like ARM or something, where kind of similar to 32-bit, ARM is a very, very low-powered processor. Well, compared to 32-bit, ARM probably surpasses it in a few ways, like with Raspberry Pi. I think that 32-bit support being cut and being slowly winded down is a good thing, because it's going to allow developers, especially for the Linux kernel and for distributions like Ubuntu, to really focus on the hardware that most 90% of people run. And if that 10% is going to be cut out, it's going to maybe push those people to buy new hardware. That being said, sometimes we don't want to buy new hardware. Sometimes we want to be able to save the old hardware. And I think that's where another article I had where it said that maybe those smaller distributions like Puppy Linux, they're going to have a better chance to get more users, because they are going to keep support for 32-bit, like Puppy Linux, I think, or Damn Small Linux. Those distributions are going to be able to really hit the niche market of 32-bit once these bigger distributions, Linux Mint, Ubuntu, maybe even Arch Linux, drop 32-bit support. So that's going to be it for this video. I also had a second article, but I'll leave it in the description below. While reading them, they're very, very similar. I think almost duplicates in a way, because they have some of the same quotes in there. So I'll link them both in the description below. What do you think about the dropping support for 32-bit? Leave it in the comment section below. I'll make sure to get back to you. As always, my name's Anton Suarez. Please rate, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.